Tomlin said, quote, "We're not a good football group right now." You know he did. So, Otto, is it panic time for the Steelers?
Yes, and yes.
Oh, you're
Big Dog, you know it's been panic time for these Steelers. Yes.
That's the word. Okay.
But think about this for a second. You knew, and if you didn't know, you was in denial. When you was watching the Steelers rack up these W's, you were thinking to yourself like, oh, they winning, but they just don't look that good. Like, I was looking at Ben Roethlisberger like, y'all winning, but something about these wins just don't sit right with your boy. And then they caught one L, and I was like, yeah, I didn't think so, but maybe it's a fluke. But then they caught another L to the Bills, and I was like, yeah, but the Bills are... But then, Marcellus, when they went out and caught that last L yesterday against these Bengals, I was like, nah, it's panic time.
Panic time?
It's panic time for a couple reasons. They don't have a number one receiver. They got a bunch of, like, really good number 3 receivers. No, technically, like, a number 2 receiver in Chase Claypool. But, like, they don't have a number 1 receiver. Let's make no mistake about it. I'm going to give it to you like this, because you're looking at me kind of funky. I had to look at myself kind of funky until I looked at the numbers. Sir, the receiver who leads their team in targets, Deontay Johnson.
Yes.
He doesn't lead the team in catches. Well, make that make sense. 126 targets, but 77 catches. But he does lead the league in drops.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. Then you talk about their third leading receiver is actually their best receiver in Chase Claypool. So I'm like, I'm confused. Then Juju Smith leads the team in catches, but doesn't lead the team in targets. It's a whole weird, convoluted complex offensively. Then, Marcellus, this is when I was really confused.
I'm hearing you.
They are number 1 in pass attempts, but number 17 in the NFL in yards. Number 1 in pass attempts, but number 17 in yards. If you're number 1 in pass attempts, you should be around the number 1 in yards, at least top 10. But you're 17, so I'll do it like this. And it's funny because I'm coming into work. It's actually the opposite of how you look on set today. But remember back when gyms were open? Oh. And you would go into the gym, and there was this one dude in a Nike dry fit. Them super small dry fits.
He ain't doing nothing.
But it was still loose on him. Huh?
Yeah.
How you in a Nike dry fit, an outfit that's made to be tight, like you supposed to feel swole. You supposed to feel jacked. But it's this one dude, and he's usually wearing glasses, and he's wearing like K-Swiss, and he's in a Nike dry fit, and it's still loose. And the Steelers offense reminds me of that. Why? Because the one thing in which, like, you're supposed to do and you think you're doing well, you're actually doing poorly. How you in a tight fit shirt, but it still look baggy? How you lead the league in pass attempts, but are actually in 17th in yardage? The one thing who you think you are, you actually aren't at all. And that's why it's panic time for the Steelers.
No, it's not panic time for the Steelers right now. And one, I don't even want to go into that intermediate emotion. And that's what I always call it. From a youngster, I used to always look at people who were panicking, stressed out, worried, as someone who was trying to show concern for what they were stressing over as a production for others, more so than just really a fix to the situation. When you have an equation you can't solve, yelling at the sky, panicking, worrying, does nothing to solve that equation, right? You got to get back to work. Grab the pencil, grab the pen, look at the numbers once again, and start to go to work. Look at the Steelers in terms of their rankings defensively. You tell me this team needs to panic when you have the second-ranked defense and second-ranked scoring defense, basically one of the top defenses in the league if you look at all statistical categories. Most sacks. Why would you panic? What you need to do is understand what's happening. They went into this game, and they tried to experiment. Little backstory. Okay, they had 3 games in what? 12 days, they had to go out there and play Baltimore, Washington, and Buffalo in 3 games. The first 2 losses happened in that 3-game stretch. All right, so you're sitting there panicking. Well, you're on the cusp of panicking right now.
Yes, sir.
When you shouldn't be, because this was a team that had to do a lot with so little time, and they got fatigued. What happens? But then they go into the Cincinnati Bengal game, and I think, looking at the numbers as you did, we don't really have a clear number 1. Deontay has the talent and the route running ability, but dude keeps dropping the ball. No hands. Chase Claypool looks like the guy, is the guy, but is not necessarily showing it fully in production, even though the talent, you can see it. So what they do in this game, you know what they do? They start to go deep with the football, intermediate with the football, instead of what's been most successful for them this year, dinking and dunking, explaining your numbers, and just throwing it fast. Ben Roethlisberger is at his best right now,
yes, sir.
at this point in his career, when the ball snap, no, snap. I mean, just long handoffs. Do not go back to old Big Ben. You certainly can't run around the same, and you can't throw the deep ball, intermediate ball, just the same. Last night we saw it, 0 for 7 in passes of 10 air yards or more in the first half. That's why they were so bad. And then you saw the 3 turnovers that turned into 17 points for Cincinnati. You find yourself in the hole. What I saw yesterday was a team that was fatigued from that 3-game stretch and then try to walk into a game they thought that they could mail in and play around with their formula. Fix the equation, but don't stress out for production and panic in this moment.
Big Dog, where did you say the Steelers ranked on defense?
Second.
Second in the league, and that's total defense, whatever the case may be. So the second in the league in defense. That typically would mean a lot to me. And you, as a defender.
Yeah, it should.
It should.
Yeah, it should.
Except when I tell you what they've been doing on offense.
Don't do that.
December.
I'm good.
What's up with this full screen, this ice cold full screen?
Ice cold.
Now, we're talking about the most games scoring fewer than 20 points since December. That's this last month of ball. Steelers done it 4 times. Then you see the Giants, the Bengals, the Broncos, the Falcons, the Jaguars, and the Patriots. Mind you, all of these offenses I've listed are laughable. And the Giants offense, although their starter is my dog, he is their backup. He's just been starting for Daniel Jones. So the Steelers have the most 20-point or fewer games since December. And the next team closest to them is the Giants with the backup quarterback. Keep this full screen up, please. Oh, no, I need to see it. I need to see it. Because the Bengals, they got a backup quarterback. The Falcons, they don't have a coach. The Jaguars, they've been fluctuating within a quarterback. And the Patriots, Bill Belichick talking about benching their quarterback. So actually, as I'm looking at that, I'm just now processing this information, which is why I want to keep looking at it. But Marcellus,
yes, sir.
The Steelers 4 times under 20 points in December, and the rest of this list, 4 of these teams is playing with backup quarterbacks. 1 team is playing without a head coach, and the other team is playing with Cam Newton. You decipher for that and what you think of him as a quarterback now. I'll get into that later in the show.
No shots. Too early.
No shots. No shots. This ain't Compton. No shots. But all I'm going to say is...
It's way safer now, dog. I'm just letting you know. Get that out there.
All I'm going to say is this, Big Dog. I love that you're bringing up the defense. As a former linebacker, I love defense. As a former defensive end, I would assume you do the same. But where the Steelers rank defensively, it's actually irrelevant because their offense is so atrocious. And before I hand you this ball off like Ben Roethlisberger needs to start doing, I'm going to say this. I just showed you 20-point or fewer games. Talk about the AFC and where teams rank. Let's go through the AFC right now. You got the Chiefs. They've scored 40 points this season. Bills, they've scored 40 points this season. Dolphins, they've scored 40 points this season. Titans, they've scored 40 points this season. Colts, they've scored 40 points this season.
It's coming.
Browns, they've scored 40 points this season. Ravens, they've scored 40 points this season. Raiders, they've scored 40 points this season. But the Steelers, how they the one team in the playoffs and the playoff hunt that ain't scored 40 points all season long? Defense is cool, Big Dog, but offense got to show up.
Yeah, we always talk about how a greater defense is a better offense in terms of...
Yes, sir.
It's just tough. I've been on a #1 defense before, and you go out there and you would applaud if you held a team to 3 or 7 to 14. Anything under 20, we like, all right, we did that. But if you go out there and you can't score 20 yourself, let alone have that high firepower, like you just mentioned, you got a problem. This is why you don't panic, Acho. I know in TV, you've been educating me about the beats of television. Come out fast with your best stuff and hit them hard. I'm a radio dude at heart, and I'm a forever talker. Like, you know me, I always talking. You always on your phone. I'm always talking. And I like to just let it build. Okay. I let this one build on y'all, Acho. You thought, like, all right, me and Marcel's just out here jabbing. Nah, I'm about to come with some haymakers now. Okay. I'm going to list, and really I'm not going to give you the full list. It gets boring on television. I've learned that from you. The Super Bowl teams that lost 3 or more of their final 5 games. I'll say it again. A bad streak at the end of their season. Baltimore Ravens were 1-4 in their last 5 games before they won the Super Bowl.
2012?
In 2012. Yes. Okay. So right now, you know what pundits like you were saying? Oh, the Baltimore Ravens, oh, damn it, it's time to panic. Until they won the Super Bowl that year. Let's go to the New Orleans Saints, 2009. They were 2-3 in their last 5. They won the Super Bowl that year. But that's not enough. I can still talk about those New Orleans Saints, but we can go back and look at other teams, the Colts, that they faced in that same Super Bowl. 2 games lost right before they entered the playoffs. The point is, you want to go into the playoffs hot. Of course. Duh. But it's not a deal breaker if you don't go into the playoffs hot. This is a team that won 11 games in a row. Would have been better off for narrative purposes, it seems like right now, if you had won 3, lost 1. Won 3, lost 1. Win 3, lose 1. Then people were like, oh, okay, we're fine with that. You know, that adds up to close to this record. But when you go all the way and show people that you're perfect in record, even though we know quietly they're not a perfect team in performance, it leads people in a different direction. I don't think there's panic time in Pittsburgh. I think Ben Roethlisberger simply needs to get back to his old formula of the beginning of the season, dinking and dunking, defense continue to play the way you're playing, and history shows even if you're stumbling into the playoffs, there still may be some pay dirt in front of you.
Sal, you've been so kind this show that I didn't really want to attack you.
Oh.
Like, I've been attacking.